When you think of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, you probably imagine a brain under attack by aging or toxins or some other outside force. But what if the real threat is coming from inside your own cells? Today, we're going to dive into apoptosis, a process that might be the hidden culprit behind neurodegeneration. Apoptosis, also known as programmed cell death, is a natural process that occurs in our bodies. It's like cellular spring cleaning, getting rid of old or damaged cells so they can be replaced with new ones. This process is so essential that all of us, from the tiniest bacteria to the largest mammals, have it, and it works the same way across species. The intrinsic pathway is triggered by internal cellular damage, like DNA that has been chewed up by reactive oxygen species or is tangled up too much to function. The extrinsic pathway is triggered by signals from outside the cell, like a lack of growth factors or an immune cell tagging the cell for destruction. Both pathways converge on those executioner caspases. Once they're set in motion, the cell basically disassembles in a tidy and orderly fashion. Its parts are recycled, and the whole process is over in a matter of hours. The cell's contents are broken down and packaged into little bits that can be recycled by the body. Just because you have one of these disorders, or even if you have some of the risk factors for them, but thanks to apoptosis, maybe we can all die a little bit better. Like a family history of the disease or certain genetic variants, it doesn't mean that your brain is definitely dying. You see, apoptosis isn't always a bad thing. If anything, it's just doing what it's supposed to, and it's not always accurate. Sometimes a cell gets the wrong signal to self-destruct, but overall, it's a good thing. That gets rid of harmful or unwanted cells. Researchers think that in neurodegenerative diseases, both of these pathways go awry, leading to a sort of double whammy of cell death. Those executioner caspases get activated and start breaking down the cell. Their mission is to unravel the complexities of neurodegeneration with the goal of finding effective treatments for neurodegenerative diseases. To learn more about their work, visit their website. First, the normal mechanisms that turn off the intrinsic pathway aren't working properly, so cells are getting the signal to self-destruct when they shouldn't. Second, the extrinsic pathway is getting turned on by those misfolded proteins that are a hallmark of these diseases. For example, in Alzheimer's disease, the amyloid beta peptide seems to activate the extrinsic pathway, triggering apoptosis even in healthy cells. This process starts in the center of the cell, in its mitochondria, which are like the cell's power plants. When a cell is damaged or no longer needed, the mitochondria release certain proteins, like cytochrome C. One strategy for treating neurodegenerative diseases is to block apoptosis. If a cell is being forced to commit suicide, why not intervene and pull it back from the edge? Some researchers are testing drugs that inhibit caspases in the hopes of slowing the progression of these diseases. And some are looking at ways to boost the cell's ability to clear misfolded proteins, either by encouraging the cell to produce more of a certain protective protein or by turning up the cell's own quality control system. Normally, this protein hangs out inside the mitochondria, but when it's released, it sets off a chain reaction that activates enzymes called caspases. And most of the drugs have had serious side effects. The problem is apoptosis does a lot of good things, so blocking it completely can be risky. Plus, it doesn't address the underlying causes of most neurodegenerative diseases. Caspases are like the executioners of apoptosis. Once they're activated, they break down the cell's contents and the cell ends up dying in a very organized way. But while this process is usually helpful, researchers believe that something's going wrong with apoptosis in people with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and ALS. It's like a big puzzle, and we've only got a few pieces. In these diseases, apoptosis seems to be working against us, destroying healthy neurons instead of getting rid of damaged ones. So how can something that's supposed to protect us end up harming us? To understand how apoptosis goes bad in neurodegenerative diseases, it helps to know how it normally works. During apoptosis, a cell essentially eats itself. But this isn't the whole story. There are many other molecules involved in apoptosis, and scientists are still trying to figure out exactly how they all fit together. What we do know is that apoptosis is controlled by two main pathways, the intrinsic and extrinsic pathways. So what goes wrong in neurodegenerative diseases? Well, it's complicated. In both cases, the result is the same though. So can we stop it? The question is, will it work? Clinical trials of caspase inhibitors have shown some promise, but others have not. So while scientists work on better ways to treat these diseases, there is some good news. I think it's safe to say that none of us are getting any younger. This episode was produced in collaboration with a center at a university.